Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I'm not here with Geeky Sparkles in this video. We're going to talk about the news. We're going to talk about CBS. We're going to talk about 60 Minutes, and we're going to talk about backlash and implosion. We've got the guy from Nathan For You out there attacking Paramount. Basically, as I understand this whole situation with Paramount and CBS and they're trying to close this deal. Paramount is trying to close a deal. They want to merge with Skydance and create some entertainment conglomerate thing, and they can't because these pesky journalists are getting in the way. And there's a lawsuit with Donald Trump, and now they're saying that Shari Redstone, who owns the majority of Paramount stock, that she was telling them to not poke the bear, to not talk about Trump so they could close this deal. And now we don't know where things are at. We had the head of CBS, or the head of 60 Minutes rather, bailing and then attacking Paramount. We've got, again, the Nathan For You guy, is it Nathan Fielder, slamming Paramount, said that they pulled an episode of his condemning the Holocaust because they didn't want to get into it. And yeah, everybody's just coming after Paramount, right? I mean, this whole thing, this is just insane. This is corporate news, right? And I want to tell you, as a guy who worked as a journalist for a number of years, your job is to report the news, to be accurate, but also, yeah, you're going to be pulled in different directions by your corporate owners, by your bosses. And so basically what you do is you can do the best you can do within the framework you're given. If you want to tell the complete truth, you're going to have to go out on your own. I mean, that's just kind of the way it is. And I think a lot of people are starting to realize that. I mean, all these gaming journos that used platforms for activism, they're realizing now, too late, that you got to make money. You got to make money. In this case, Paramount is not doing well. They're bleeding out money. Paramount Plus is not doing that great, as I understand it. So, they got to sell to Skydance. They got to close this deal. And I'm not saying compromise your journalistic integrity, but I think 60 Minutes is probably done after this. A lot of outlets are saying they don't think they're going to come back from it. And honestly, I think as we see the consolidation and collapse of Hollywood, of Hollywood studios, that we're going to see a lot of these legacy shows, no matter how long they've been on the air. I think we're going to see a lot of them just die. Right. It's just, I mean, it's just time marches on, right? The people that were watching 60 Minutes 20 years ago are probably watching Tucker Carlson now. So, and if they can't trust you, regardless of the reason, they're not going to watch you. And it's just, everything's changing. Everything is changing. Everything's imploding. So before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. Check out, speaking of news.clownfishtv.com. We, have a website. Yeah, I guess that's still a thing. But you can go check that out. We have other stuff out there that we don't have here on YouTube. So let's see here. Let's walk it back. We'll talk about it's a couple days ago, and I know there are people that have been covering this like day by day. I haven't been. I don't care. 60 Minutes is what grandma watches, right? Grandma watches 60 Minutes. Most people under the age of 60 don't watch 60 Minutes. Maybe that's why they call it 60 Minutes. You hit 60, and now you're counting the minutes until you die. No, it's a news program for old folks, right? Like 2020 and all these other legacy shows. They started watching them probably in their 20s, 30s, and they just kept on watching them. And now we're just going to see natural attrition. But the boss stepped down, and he had very unkind words for Paramount. According to NPR, who is not happy with Trump now either because he cut their funding off. 60 Minutes chief resigned, saying the show's independence was compromised. And this is about the lawsuit. Trump is suing them, and then the Kamala Harris thing. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. So he resigned Tuesday. That'd be last Tuesday. His network's parent company contemplates a settlement with Trump over the lawsuit focused on an interview the show did with Kamala Harris last fall. Yeah, so they made her look good, as I understand it. They made her look good. They made her look better than Trump. And that was kind of by design. They didn't want Trump to win. And now they're in a lawsuit with Trump because, the news is not supposed to meddle, supposedly, not supposed to meddle in election affairs. You know, you're supposed to present the candidates fairly, warts and all, and they did not. Apparently, Harris, as I understand, was kind of bumbling around. So an emotionally charged meeting Tuesday afternoon, and again in a note to staff released publicly shortly thereafter, the show's executive producer Bill Owens said he was departing. Owens is only the third leader of the show in more than half a century. This show has been on way too long. He said corporate parent Paramount and its controlling owner Shari Redstone are seeking the approval of federal regulators to sell it to the son of Oracle founder Larry Ellison. So that'd be Skydance, right? Ellison is a friend of Trump's. Over the past month, it has become clear that I would not be allowed to run the show as I have always run it, to make independent decisions based on what was right for 60 Minutes, right for the audience, he said. So having defended the show and what we stand for from every angle over time with everything I could, I'm stepping aside so the show can move forward. At the meeting, according to two attendees, Owens said he had lost independence from corporate. The two people required anonymity to speak publicly due to the fraught professional environment. 60 Minutes correspondent Scott Pelley, a longtime collaborator and friend of Owens, told colleagues this isn't something Bill is doing of his own volition. There was no choice in any of this, according to one of his attendees. So here's a little backstory, right? For those of you not following the drama. Last fall, before regaining office, Trump sued CBS parent company Paramount in his personal capacity. Trump pointed to the fact that the network aired two different versions of an answer Harris gave about Israel and Gaza, one on Face of the Nation and the other on 60 Minutes. He demanded the network release the transcript of the raw interview, which it ultimately did this year once Trump was in office and his chief broadcasting regulators sought it. Trump was later joined by a congressional ally in his lawsuit and doubled his demand to $20 billion. $20 billion. Yeah, they don't have that kind of money. That's the point. Legal observers spanning the ideological spectrum say Trump does not have a good case. His lawsuit spuriously alleges election interference by CBS over this kind of discretionary editorial choices that routinely confront broadcast journalists. Redstone has been outspoken about the massacre of Israeli citizens by Hamas in October 2023. We're going to get into that because that, that might have something to do with the Nathan Fielder thing. But yeah, so apparently Wendy McMahon was also there, and she appeared tearful, told other people assembled she'd been supportive of everything that Owens had done. Look, it's all collapsing, right? It's all of this is collapsing. Yeah, so the lawsuit equates interview with voter interference. So it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. You guys can Google it. Like, I'm not going to get into it. We're going to get into the latest. So she apparently, Shari Redstone, who some amusement company, she owns the majority of Paramount, and they've been back and forth trying to, get this deal closed. They really need to, Paramount, to survive, they have to basically sell to Skydance. And if they sell to Skydance, because John Lasseter's over there, he would actually technically probably be in charge of all animation. And technically, he'd probably be in charge of like Nickelodeon and like SpongeBob and all that stuff too. It's just kind of crazy when you think about it. But Mediaite. Shari Redstone asked CBS to delay sensitive stories about Trump until Paramount sale closed. So this is their version of it. So a controlling shareholder of Paramount said the parent company of CBS and its news division is eager to close the sale of her company to Skydance. So eager, in fact, she reportedly asked CBS News to delay any sensitive stories about Trump till the deal was finalized. Same thing kind of happened with Disney and ABC too. They kind of told people shut up, and then they had the View hosts on the air, like having to read a prepared statement. Like, look, she's trying to close the deal. She's trying to. Okay, this is coming from a former journalist. We had a very involved owner and publisher of the one paper I worked for. He also owned like several printing companies, whatever. And sometimes he would run stuff I didn't approve of, but he was the publisher. He paid the bills. He signed my checks. I was a managing editor. Right? Actually, it's weird in the pecking order. I'll tell you how it usually works at a newspaper. I was the managing editor, but I still had to answer to the publisher, and I still had to answer to the advertising guy. Like, the advertising guy was higher up the totem pole than I was, because at the end of the day, unfortunately, I knew my job was basically to create content to fit in and around the advertising in the newspaper. Because if there's no advertising, there was no newspaper. I understood this. I learned it at a young age. I was actually in my 20s when I was running that paper. And I learned at an early age that no money, no news, right? So, yeah. Is the journalistic integrity of corporate media, is it compromised? Oh, absolutely, all over the place. It is. You have to work within the framework you can work within. But if you've got your owner coming to you and saying, "Hey, uh, if we want to sell this company, you're going to have to shut the fuck up for a couple of months until we can sell it, so you all have jobs." And if it were explained to me like that, I'd probably be like, "Yeah, I kind of want my job," you know. But some people, they're like, "No, I've got my integrity," and that's fine. And it's fine. Sometimes you got to pick your battles, right? And I'm just saying, like, they're in a really bad place right now. I'm not saying I agree with everything that's going on. I mean, suing for $20 billion. Are you freaking like what? $20 billion. But again, it's a balancing act. And I think all these news outlets, again, whether they're video game journalists or they're whatever, they're learning the painful truth, which is if you work for a corporate news organization, you're not going to be able to say whatever the hell you want to say with impunity. It's not going to happen. Geo Media with Deadspin. Look at that. Look at Gawker, how it got gone. Look at that. So if you want to go independent and you want to be, a journalist in the trenches, just like I said in the video game, in the Polygon video, you're going to have to do it yourself, right? Don't expect your corporate owners, if they have, millions or billions of dollars on the line, to be like, "Yeah, you know what, Fred, just say whatever the hell you want to say. Who cares? It's only money. We've got journalistic integrity." I'm like, no, they're not going to do that. Again, I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just telling you how it is. Burn the company down, Fred. That's fine. With your hot takes, that's fantastic. Samantha, why don't you write 20 more articles about how every white person in America is a bigoted racist? Please do that. And we understand that, 80% of our audience is white, but it's okay. You do you. Whatever you want to say, Samantha, that's okay. It's fine. It's only money. And then 2 weeks later, everybody's fired and they wonder why. So it's a balancing act. If you're expecting 100% unfiltered truth from corporate news media, you are never going to get it. And I don't care what side of the aisle you're on, you're never going to get it, because they got to pay them bills and they got to answer to those shareholders, right? So that's just me channeling my former journalist, my inner journalist, and I'm telling you, like, it was a balancing act. It sucked. I mean, it did suck sometimes. Sometimes they're like, "Hey, this guy over here is doing some really like sketchy stuff. Should we report on?" "Oh, he's one of the advertisers." "Yeah, we can't. We can't talk about it because he's going to pull the ads from the paper." Okay, whatever. Anyway. The interference with the CBS newsroom was reported by Puck, Dylan Byers, on Wednesday evening, and supports the reasoning behind why 60 Minutes executive producer Bill Owens stepped down over concerns about a lack of independence at the famed news magazine. If they always had independence and then they're telling him, "Hey, you can't have it now," I mean, I get him being angry, but I'm also like, we are living in unprecedented times, and the company is going to go tits up, as they say, as I say, tits up. Not in the good way either. I mean, there are multiple ways you can go tits up, and some of them are more fun than others. Tits down also can be fun, but I'm just saying. Trump is suing CBS News for election interference over a 60-minute interview with Harris conducted by Bill Whitaker. An answer by Harris was edited and used in a tease of the segment on Face of the Nation and on 60 Minutes. The editing of a subject's answer for time is standard procedure in the TV news industry, and legal experts have dismissed Trump's suit as totally baseless. Redstone, according to reports, has been eager to sell the lawsuit in order to get approval for her sale. Yes, it's the only way they're going to save Paramount. That even prompted the stunning intervention reported by Byers, who wrote that she made the request to CBS News CEO George Cheeks. Mr. Cheeks, Shari Redstone's attempt to influence 60 Minutes coverage went beyond that. According to those sources with direct knowledge of the matter, Shari asked Cheeks, not Shari asked Cheeks, who is tits up or down, depends. if it would be possible to delay sensitive stories about Trump or his policies till after she closed the Skydance deal. Representatives for Shari and Cheeks declined to comment on the nature of those discussions, and representatives for Paramount and CBS News declined to comment on the story. Current deadline for the Paramount Skydance deal is July 6th. So she wants them to hold off for a couple of months. Just hold off until the check clears. Okay, can you do that for me? Is what she's asking. Byers went on to note that there is no evidence that Shari's increased oversight of 60 Minutes has forced the show to alter its programming, nor that Cheeks ever sought to execute her request. So it sounds to me like she asked them if they could hold off, and they really didn't give, I guess they didn't give an answer. This says consistent with what CBS News anchor Scott Pelley said in a stunning rebuke of an unnamed Paramount executive when he told 60 Minutes viewers about Owen's departure from the show. Yeah, so they're all like losing their shit over this. Redstone's expected to receive $530 million from the merger. This includes a $180 million severance package and a substantial amount from the sale of her stake in National Amusements. Additionally, she was paid $523,000 in 2024 as director compensation, according to the Wrap. Trump's lawsuit against CBS has been widely mocked by legal experts for its absurdity, but it is consistent with his multifaceted war on the press. ABC News parent company Disney settled a $15 million suit last year. That was George Stephanopoulos, who continually called him a grapist. He said he was a convicted grapist, and it didn't go well. And they settled because they're like, yeah, we can't drag this out. It's like we called the guy a grapist. As long as he's not suing, like, oh, you called him orange. Yeah, well, he's objectively not orange. He's more of a, I don't know, like a burnt umber tone or something. It depends, So I'm like, yeah, I mean, this is, and anyway, yeah, the Associated Press has recently benefited from a court order to regain access to the White House after the Gulf of America dictate. Yeah, they were booted because they would not recognize the Gulf of America. And I'm going to be honest, I think the Gulf of America is silly. And I think it was a very petty thing. Apparently there are reasons for it, though. They said that there's like some mandate or something that they couldn't drill in the Gulf of Mexico, so they renamed it the Gulf of America. I'm like, okay, whatever. We're buying Greenland next? Are we just taking Greenland? I mean, what the hell are we doing? I don't know what the hell is going on from day to day. Look, here's the reality at the end of the day is she wants to close this deal. Her reporters won't shut up when she tells them to shut up. She owns the company. I get that they want autonomy. I guess my view on that is if you really want autonomy in the newsroom, you're going to have to do it yourself. And this was always going to happen. They're also scrapping DEI initiatives after this lawsuit settlement because they're trying to clean themselves up. They want the sale to go through. The sale has to go through. And again, you have employees that, I'm saying, like, you get people that are just like, oh, I need to say this, or I need to say that, or I need to, and it's fine. But I'm like, it's not your company, is it? People wonder why corporations, sometimes just kind of let stuff slide. And this is why. So yeah, they had this whole thing too. I mean, they're just basically just trying to get this thing through, and they have to. We'll talk real quick about this. This is the Nathan For You guy, which we actually do watch Nathan For You. And apparently they had an episode about a Holocaust merchandise or something. The rehearsal. Yeah. And they said that Fielder targeted Paramount Plus for removing the Summit Ice episode of his Comedy Central series, Nathan For You, from the library. On the rehearsal, he said he was told the episode in which he makes an apparel line that benefits the Holocaust education was removed because of sensitivities around anti-Semitism. Fielder recreates the whole situation and most controversially uses Nazi imagery to depict the streamer. So he basically compared them to Nazis. He compared them to Nazis because they pulled his Nazi-themed episode off the air. How come nobody complained as much when they pulled the quote-unquote blackface episode of Community off the air, right? I mean, it eventually got snuck back on. Again, this is all about what they call curbside appeal. When you're going to sell a house, even if the damn thing is fallen down, you slap a coat of paint on to make it look as good as possible because the buyers can deal with all the issues after they close the deal. And then they find out that, oh, you just painted over the rust and you painted over the termite damage. And you know what I'm saying? That's what they're doing. If Paramount as a company, if CBS as a company is damaged goods, they just want to get their check from Skydance, and then Skydance can deal with it. So that's why they're doing what they're doing. And I get it. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying this is how it is. I've worked for companies before where they were trying to get them prepped for sale, and they would just kind of, put all the skeletons in the closet and sweep up a little bit and, get the Axe body spray and just kind of spritz the air and be like, yeah, this place doesn't reek at all. It's, you want to buy it, right? And you want to give us maximum dollar for it. You want to know what happens when all the dirty laundry comes out? Ask Diamond Comics, because we just covered that. Like, they lied about their deal with Wizards of the Coast, and a deal fell through because the buyer made the offer based on their projected sales with Wizards of the Coast merchandise, which they were not going to be able to carry anymore. So this is why they're doing it. But there's a lot of bad PR right now with Paramount. What a disaster. I mean, it's just a disaster. I'm going to wrap it up. I mean, look, maybe Skydance can fix Star Trek. I'm okay with that. They fix Star Trek. Just get it done. Fix Star Trek. Move on. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later.